Welcome, Evgeny. It's fantastic to have you here at the London Jesuit Centre in the heart of Mayfair for the screening of your new film, Francesco, exploring the life of St. Francis. This is quite a marked departure for your work. Your previous films explored the unrest in the Ukraine in 2013-14, as well as the brutal conflict in Syria. What drew you to wanting to make a documentary about Pope Francis? How on earth did this come about?
I think all of these movies have a link. First of all, I never do movies that somebody asking me to do. The subject matter is kind of finding me. And it happens on a certain way Ukraine, it's happened a certain way with Syria, it's happened a certain way with Pope Francis, and it's even happening right now with my next project. What is interesting, in Ukraine, I witnessed certain things that from one side damaged me, like any soldier, because I saw death in front of my eyes. But from another side, I saw what it means unity, I saw interfaith dialogue. Two elements that really Pope Francis embraced. Interfaith dialogue was something that he was embracing even as Archbishop of Buenos Aires. And unity for him, it's an important element of the society that he's trying kind of to unite the world together. Syria, that I witnessed probably not only the horrors, but I think it was a journey into the darker side of today's humanity, really hurt me emotionally. And I saw how my movies from one side able to inspire people, but from another side I was thinking, I brought revolution that inspires people to stand and create uprisings, to stand against their dictators. I saw how Syrian movie inspired people to open their hearts and minds for the Syrian refugees and understand them. So I was thinking how I can take many issues of today's world, glue them together and find hope, find light, find humanity back, find love, find light. That's what I was missing. On a personal level, and also on a level that I can bring to my audience and inspire them. And that's actually was the desire to go to Pope Francis, because he actually dealing with all these issues day-by-day basis. He dealing not just with the Catholic Church, he as a great humanitarian and role model, he dealing with these issues that this world full of. And I think that was one of the reasons that one of my friends said, go check about Pope Francis. You may find something that can connect all these issues that he wants to bring together, and in the same time, he wants to tell stories through him. And that's what I did. I went, I did research, I came to Vatican, which refused to get me access to him, and I started to do the project, and I found my way, I built my way to Pope Francis, and through him, I created this movie. Basically, for me, this is a movie about state of today's world. It's about us, human people, and about him who humbly trying to show us the way into the future. Because if we will continue what we're doing, tomorrow this world not exist. And I think that's what brought me to him. So again, I'm not seeing him just as a leader of the Catholic Church. I'm seeing him as somebody who is a great role model for humanity, for younger generation, somebody who is navigating us, trying to find back our moral compass.
You've talked about how being in the Ukraine and being in Syria were, for you personally, obviously very difficult, traumatic context to film in, and the people you met and the things you witnessed. It sounds as though this project, seeing Pope Francis, had an effect upon you. Could you talk more about that?
I will tell you, first of all, any of my friends who knew me before and who saw me through the project and after the project, all of them can testify to you that it's changed me completely. Yesterday, during the event we had here in London, one of my executive producers, she literally stand and said how the project with Pope Francis changed me. And it's true, because for me it was healing. I guess the whole 3 years of being by the side of Pope Francis, observing him, seeing the positivity, seeing the good that he is doing, seeing the hope for the future, I think That's helped me to heal certain wounds that I had from the war, from the Syria, from Maidan. I think that's allowed me to believe in the future. That's allowed me to become a dad. That's allowed me many different aspects of my life, changed different aspects of my life. And it's gave specifically hope during the darkness of pandemic. I think that was something that ultimately brought us to pandemic, because I finished movie in pandemic, and it was ultimately something that missing for the world. So technically pandemic helped me to finish the movie. Pope Francis helped me to finish the movie. And I think what was important, that in these dark days for the world, through my art I found hope, and I brought it to the audience. I brought it through his gestures that we see in the movie, inspirational gestures. And I can tell you, I know stories on right and left that movie already inspired people to do good things, and it's doing today. From school program that we have on Francesco, to toys that have been given to all the kids in a shelters that were separated from the families, to many other aspects. So the movie on its own, living on this big world, and continual gestures of Pope Francis.
A lot of people, particularly 30, 40 years ago, expected the church, Christianity, faith to be something that kind of receded because it's not relevant, or they felt it wasn't relevant to the modern world. How do you think that the Catholic Church is relevant to the modern world? Do you think it has a place, a story to tell, something to kind of say?
You know, I think what Francis is doing today, specifically with the interfaith dialogue that he is doing, we can see last year, October 3rd, he signed with all faith leaders in Rome an amazing document, Faith and Science. Can we imagine 30 years ago that alignment between church and science was exist? I don't think so. When you saying to somebody that church endorsing science, people looking at you like you are really dreaming, but it is. He made, together with the all faith leaders of each and every denominations, to sign a document endorsing these elements. And that's what's remarkable. He trying to bring church into the 21st century. He trying to align church with the climate change, with the humanity, with the values, with the brotherhood, understanding that at the end of the day, every religion teaches peace, not the war. Because in today's world, we can see Myanmar, Bangladesh, Rohingya refugees. It's not just a genocide, let's say, it's the issue that monks, Buddhist monks, going against another religion, destroying other religion. So it's not a political conflict, it is actually a religion conflict where religious aspect used for the personal gain of somebody. It's fundamentalism, which we saw in ISIS, in Al-Qaeda. We see in this kind of political gain in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. We see these things happening over and over in different places. Pope Francis trying to connect the world and to show that we all even, we are brothers. Fratelli Tutti, his document that he signed in 2020 on the 3rd of October in Assisi, 3rd or 4th of October in Assisi. So at the end of the day, we see that there is a relevance of this institution, but it's relevant only when we're following the Pope Francis, when we're following his gestures as the humanitarian. And I think for the first time, Catholic Church should be proud of him, and Catholics should be proud of him, because he not just represents the church in that case, he represents the entire humanity. Because if you will look at his elements that he bringing to this world, he cares about every human being. He cares about every person in the world, because everyone is a child of God. So that's what church should be proud. And yes, he bringing the relevance of this institution, but he also cleansing the soul of this institution with all the disasters that the church had through all these years, through all the disasters, sexual abuse, the cover-up. It is something that Pope Francis is trying to cleanse. He's trying to clean the soul of the church, that people will gain trust back. And it's necessary. This institution needs to go through rebirth, which he's doing. Yes, there is opposition. Yes, there is people who are fearing change, and there is people who are exist in this church that are fearing change. But he, as somebody who is coming out of the Jesuit order, somebody who is coming out of Ignatius, he is on this field fighting these people. He is bringing the humanity to the entire institution, to the entire world.
Talking about the Jesuits, we're here in a Jesuit centre. We're next to Farm Street, a Jesuit church. And as you've just intimated, Pope Francis is a Jesuit. Do you have a sense in which him being a Jesuit, his Jesuitness, if you will, has influenced how he's acted, the things he's said and done?
I will give you an example to me. I remember when I was trying to convince him to do a movie, he said, Evgeny, I'm a Jesuit. I'd rather be on the front lines with the people, on the ground, than I will be in front of the camera. And that's the Jesuit. That's the attitude of the Jesuit. He's not trying to market himself. He's not trying to be a superstar. He's trying to serve people on the ground. And that's example of Jesuit. That's a remarkable example of Jesuit.
To go back to one of your earlier documentaries on the Ukraine, and obviously the Ukraine dominates the news at the moment, the tragedy that's unfolding over there. Obviously the aftermath of 2013-14 felt like a hopeful moment with a change of government, a potential openness to democracy, to the will of the people, all these sort of things that people were saying. How are you feeling about the situation now? What are your hopes for what might happen? And I guess as a second question, we're in a Catholic institution. What can Catholics be proactively doing now?
You know what? I will start with the back question. You know, when I was on Maidan, I remember it was a Catholic cross that pilgrims from Rome brought. I think it was the same cross that was on the St. Peter's Square when Pope Francis was doing Urbe et Orbe on 2020 during the pandemic. I think this cross was brought to Maidan by the pilgrims, and people were praying there. And I think that's, a lot of people believe that it's helped to bring the resistance and win the situation. Again, everything is possible. On my journey with Pope Francis, I learned an interesting thing. I remember when I finished the movie, and in 2019, I was trying to finish the movie, and I was pressuring Pope Francis to help me to finish this. I needed the interview from him, and he was like, a final interview, and he was like, Evgeny, wait. And I was like, no, we need to finish this. And he was asking me to be patient. 2020, pandemic came. And I remember how somebody said to me, somebody from Vatican, Evgeny, the resurrection of the Christ will come and you will find the way how to finish your movie. And I was like, guys, come on. I'm a simple guy from the movie industry, from Hollywood, and you're talking about resurrection that's happening during the Easter. Wonderful. You know what, believe it or not, let's say I'm confessing right now, but on the 14th of April, during the resurrection of the Christ, during the Easter, I saw the complete version of the movie in my mind. And I called to all of them. I was like literally jumping through the sky. And I finished the movie. And when on 30th of August, I came to him and I started to show him on iPad the movie, I remember he stopped me and he said, Evgeny, thank you for your patience. And I was like, Holy Father, wait, thank you for your patience with me. And the most interesting thing that I learned from this lesson, that as much as I consider myself a movie director, the director is there. We all actors here. On this world, we all actors. We are the instruments that this director using us to deliver messages, to do things. And that was a remarkable lesson. That again, probably it goes towards your first question to me about me and Pope Francis, but that was remarkable question. It was actually second, what was through all this process, how it changed me. So it was a remarkable situation to realize that, you know what, nobody knew about this situation that coming in 2019, but he had this feeling that it's not the right time to finish this. And he was so proud that I was patient enough allowing this progress to go organically, because he said, please trust God. Trust. That's what is important. Just give a chance, trust. And I was really shocked by revelations, because I got to these revelations. So going back to Maidan, I do believe that this cross that came, he was some kind of symbolic thing, but he may brought a certain energy that helped to these people to resist. What I believe in today, these people will be standing their ground. Ukrainians will be fighting till the death, till their last drop of blood for their land, for their Ukraine. It is their land. And I don't know if the war will be ending in the next couple of weeks or in the next couple of months. It's hard to predict, but definitely these people will be standing their grounds. They're not planning to give up on their homes. They're not, some of them even not have homes right now, but they will not give up on their land. So that's my thing, because I've been there during Maidan, I've witnessed this, and I'm seeing what's happening right now. As for the Catholic world, I know that two of the cardinals, one of them Jesuit, Michael Czerny, whom I know really good. Unfortunately, I and Michael not found common grounds as much as I was willing to work with him. And he embraced all my work on the refugees, actually. But from the beginning of my project, Michael not wanted to cooperate at all. And I'm openly saying that, because from one side I'm embracing him, but from another side I really wish he was collaborating more, because what I'm learning from Pope Francis, collaboration and unity can bring a lot of great things. So two cardinals, Krajewski, the papal almoner, and Cardinal Michael Czerny, they are right now kind of being eyes, hands, in the body of the church on the ground, and they're helping. I do hope that if Caritas and any other organizations of the Catholic Church or Jesuit refugee services, which are familiar in the United States, can be for these refugees, it will be great, because we are facing right now the huge refugee crisis. From one side, we literally just finished with the Afghan crisis, Afghan refugee crisis, and we dived into something else. And what people still don't understand, we are in a basically in a World War III. People thinking that, oh, if NATO will get involved, that's World War III. No, we are, because technically the world are involved completely in this war. It's not just Ukraine and Russia. It's even not Russia, it's Putin. But at the end of the world, this war exists, and every country contributing either on the side of Russia or on the side of Ukraine, giving either help to Ukraine, supporting them with different goods, and it's already involvement. So it's a World War III. And if we will not stop him there, then it can repeat the mistakes of the past. Because his book is the playbook of the Second World War. If we look at the notion that he is using the propaganda machine, which was created by Joseph Goebbels, 1939. Take a lie big enough, repeat it over and over, and it becomes truth. And there is another great quote of Joseph Goebbels. Truth is an enemy of the state. So if you look at Russia, which playbook is brought there, then you're realizing what's happening. And all this propaganda machine that was created for the last 10 years, and right now it's in the sea of the sea, when the rules prohibiting any kind of media in Russia, except the Russian state TV. These rules can put people into the jail for 15 years if something said that is against the Russian Kremlin news. So, of course, there is a fear. So technically, there is a playbook of one side, and there is a humanity on another side. There is one hero who is the bad guy, who is trying to have his crazy ambitions of Napoleon and Hitler. And from another side, we have a humanity that fighting this notion of evil. We have a fight of good and bad. We have a fight of darkness and light. And I hope that in that days, the world can unite. The world can be united. And that's what Pope Francis is trying to do. That's what movies that we as filmmakers trying to doing. You asked what church can do. try to help to unite people. And united, we can win this thing, because Ukrainian nation are united. And I think that's a great example to any nation. That's a great example to the entire world. That's a great example to the church, which is also divided. I think there is so many lessons that people can learn. I wish we can learn from, same Maidan that been united and won, from the notion that for 5 weeks Ukrainians are fighting, and they're fighting united, and that's working. So I think we can learn more from them, and that's why we need to help them, because united around them, we can win. And we can give a great lesson to every other dictators who are somewhere far right now from this situation, and for them it's study case. Will they go and take some other territories or go and take over some other nations, or they will not, because the world will stand for these people. And these situations are existing in our world a lot. There is many totalitarian regimes who are right now looking at Ukraine and Putin, how the world will react. And for the world is important to stop this madness. Because if we will not stop, then somebody else will try to do this thing.
Obviously, this film was finished a few years ago, and it's fantastic that it's being screened here this evening. You intimated earlier that there may be another project in the works. Where are you heading off to next? What's kind of caught your eye or your heart?
Oh, you know what? I have 2 projects that I'm running right now, and I will keep my audience surprising. But there is a project that I'm filming right now, and there is a project that I will be filming in the fall. And they're both relevant to today's world. They're both relevant to the characters that I already worked. So that's the scoop. But I will leave this scoop with you, so with the intrigue. But in both projects, there is a characters from my previous movies.
Well, that's intriguing. I'm sure we're all going to be interested to see kind of what comes out. Evgeny, thank you so much for taking time to speak to us. We really hope that many people go out and see the film Francesco, talk about the issues it raises, about our common humanity, about the greater need for interreligious dialogue and working together for the common good. And like you, we hope and pray for peace in the Ukraine. And we wish you the best of luck with your next 2 projects.
Thank you. Thank you.